All right, good evening. This is the April 17th, 2024 Cottage Grove City Council meeting, which I'm calling to order. The first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, will the clerk please do the roll?
Councilmember Kambata?
Here.
Councilmember Olson?
Here.
Councilmember Thiede?
Here.
Councilmember Garza? Here. Mayor Bailey?
Here. Next on our agenda this evening is open forum. This is the opportunity for anybody who wants to speak on something that's not on tonight's agenda. Technically, this one is, but this will be fine, with regards to taking up to 3 minutes. And we did have a sign-up sheet out in the entryway, and we did have one individual sign up, which is Bonnie Matter. So Bonnie, if you'd like to go up. And it's about Arbor Day, I believe.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Mayor and council members. Nice to see you. Yes, I have a short little, let's see, it would kind of be like educational, okay? Old growth forests provide numerous important benefits. They are highly effective carbon sinks, with the oldest and largest trees storing the most carbon. As the leaves and other organic matter from these forests decompose, much of the stored carbon is sequestered in the soil rather than released into the atmosphere. Old growth forests support high levels of biodiversity, providing unique habitats and resources for a wide range of plant and animal species that cannot thrive in younger, more disturbed forests. The complex structure of old growth forests with large trees, fallen logs, and multi-layered canopies creates diverse microclimates and niches. These forests play crucial roles in regulating local hydrology, improving soil quality and drainage, and breaking down air pollutants. Their ecological services provide significant economic value to nearby communities through tourism, recreational, and natural resource provisioning. Many indigenous cultures have deep spiritual and cultural connections to old growth forests, relying on them for traditional practices and sustainable use of resources. However, old growth forests are increasingly rare globally due to natural disturbances and human activities. Protecting the remaining old growth forests is crucial for conserving biodiversity, mitigating climate change, and preserving important cultural and ecological values. During the City of Cottage Grove Arbor Day ceremony, please take the time to remember the 2,536 trees that were destroyed as part of the Mississippi Dunes development. The city, is going to replace 106 boulevard trees at $47,571 or $449 a piece. As part of the September 6, 2023 preliminary development agreement between the City Council and Rachel Development, the city eliminated the tree preservation requirement as a PUD exception. 2,536 trees were cut down or ripped out of the ground. What the city so willingly offered for destruction was priceless. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, nobody else had signed up out there. Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to speak on something that's not on tonight's agenda? All right, seeing none, I will go ahead and close the open forum portion, and I'll move to number 5, which is the adoption of the agenda.
Move the agenda.
Second. We have a motion by Councilmember Olson, second by Councilmember Thiede. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next on our agenda is presentations, which we do have one this evening. A is the 2024 Arbor Day Proclamation, and I believe Ryan Burfine, our Public Works Director, is going to walk us through this one.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. So like we do each year, we do proclaim and celebrate Arbor Day. It's kind of like a welcoming to spring, right? Now, we didn't have much of a winter last year, but it's always something we have, and we have different events that we have for the public, and I'll talk through those, and at the end, we'll have the proclamation itself. So Arbor Day, internationally recognized, and it's really all about forestation and bringing new trees in and having our trees that we have throughout the community. The first thing that we do, thinking about planting new trees, we do this every year, and this is really a Parks Department initiative, but I always talk about it as we talk about Arbor Day, is the volunteer tree planting event. So this year it's going to be at Sunny Hill Park, kind of on the north edge of town in the Pine Cliff development. I'm going to be at 1 p.m. on Tuesday, April 23rd. So that we always welcome folks in the neighborhood to come join in, on that tree planting event that'll happen that day, hoping for good weather. You can see a picture, I believe this is from last year, down in Strawberry Fields Park for that volunteer tree planting. We also do an Arbor Day tree giveaway. This is a very popular thing we do every year. This is open right now for folks to sign up for. It's a registration on the city website. We also had it on Facebook, so people can find it through there. I think it was on the city newsletter with like a QR code, so it'd bring you right to the registration. Folks just need to register by Wednesday, April 24th, 2024 at 8 a.m. to be entered in that drawing. We do a random drawing then of all the names for 100 bare root trees. And they are pretty good sizable trees. Sometimes the bare root trees are kind of small, but these are good trees. I think as of today, there was 500 people signed up. So I think we typically get around 1,000 people to sign up for that giveaway, so very popular. And then we'll deliver those on Arbor Day on Friday, April 26th between 7 a.m. and noon. We also do buckthorn pickup. So I mean, this is a little different initiative, but really trying to make our forests more healthy. So we do go around, and if folks have buckthorn that they're removing from their property, they just need to call us by this Friday, the 19th. Yep. And then we will put them on a schedule to come and do that pickup, and we'll pick it up next week, the week of April 22nd. We just ask that they put it out on their curb or in the boulevard area out of the street, and then we will pick that up. And it really is for buckthorn is the goal of that. So if you have any on your property, big or small, we've had some larger properties where people do large cleanup projects, and we will take all the buckthorn that you remove, no matter how much it is. And with that, I have the Arbor Day Proclamation, but if council has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
All right, any questions? I don't think so, but I did ask Councilmember Thiede to go ahead and read the Arbor Day Proclamation. So, Councilmember Thiede.
All right, thank you. Whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can be a solution to combating climate change by reducing the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing life-giving oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic viability of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. And whereas the city of Cottage Grove will host a ceremonial tree planting and volunteer planting event at Sunny Hill Park on Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024, and a tree giveaway to residents delivered on Friday, April 26th, 2024. And now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Cottage Grove, County of Washington, State of Minnesota, hereby proclaim April 26th, 2024 as Arbor Day in the City of Cottage Grove, past this 17th day of April 2024.
Fantastic, thank you. And before I look for a motion and second to approve that, I thought I would just share, ironically, today I did receive in the mail that Cottage Grove is once again nominated or as Tree City USA, which is kind of cool. And I thought one of the things that they talk about a variety of different things that we do in our community to preserve trees and add trees and manage the canopy, which obviously our Public Works team does with our forester. But one of the other things it says in here is if ever there was a time for trees, now is that time. Communities worldwide are facing issues with air quality, water resource, personal health and well-being, energy use, and extreme heat and flooding. Cottage Grove is doing its part to address these challenges for residents, both now and in the future. So I just thought that would be that's kind of an interesting comment to be made. And there is a press release that I'll provide to the staff so that the press can see that we're being nationally recognized. So I'll take a motion and a second for Arbor Day
I'll make
Proclamation.
a motion.
All right, so we have a motion by Councilmember Garza. Do we have seconds?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Kambata. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next on our agenda is the consent agenda. Is there anything that council would like to pull on consent?
I make a motion to move consent.
All right, so we have a motion to move consent by Councilmember Kambata. Do I have a second?
I'll
Second.
Go ahead. I'll second.
All right, seconded by Councilmember Garza. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So if you are here for anything on tonight's consent calendar or watching from home, all of those items have been approved. Next is 8 is approved disbursement. 8A is to pay the bills.
Move the bills.
Motion by Councilmember Rosen. Do I have a
Second.
second? Second by Councilmember Thiede. Any questions on the bills? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 9 is public hearings. There is none this evening. 10 is bid awards. We do have one this evening, which is the Jamaica Avenue Mill and Overlay Project bid award. And Amanda Meyer, our city engineer, is going to walk us through this. So welcome, Amanda.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. So as mentioned, the Jamaica Mill and Overlay bid award. We did open bids on April 4th. Just as a reminder, this is the section of Jamaica Avenue between 80th Street and 90th Street. You can see our engineer's estimate was at $1.5 million. The low bidder, Northwest Asphalt Incorporated, at $1,446,878.71. Northwest Asphalt is a contractor that works pretty frequently in Cottage Grove. We have good experience with them, and you can see with that engineer's estimate, we fell kind of right in the middle of those bids, which is good to see. So with that, I'll keep it short. There's a recommendation before you, and I will stand for any questions.
All right, any questions for Amanda on the bids for Jamaica? No. All right, seeing none, then I guess, thank you. I'll take a motion and a second, whoever wants to take it.
I'll move that we adopt Resolution 2024-063 awarding the Jamaica Avenue Mill and Overlay Project to Northwest Asphalt Incorporated in the total amount of $1,446,878.71.
All right, so we have a motion by Councilmember Thiede. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Kambata. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is 11 is a regular agenda. We do have one item on our regular agenda this evening, which is Summer Valley, which is zoning amendment and preliminary plat. And our associate planner, Connor Jakes, is going to walk us through this one. Welcome, Connor.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Great to be with you. The two applications before this evening are a preliminary plat and zoning amendment for the proposed Summer Valley residential subdivision. Summergate Development is requesting approval of a zoning amendment and preliminary plat on 24.5 acres of land located south of the Woodbury border. The property is currently zoned AG2 agriculture, and the applicant is proposing to rezone the subject site to R3 single-family residential in order to plat 71 single-family lots for homes. Proposed project does consist of 24.5 acres, again, adjacent to the Cottage Grove Woodbury border on the northern edge of the city, surrounded by 3 existing residential developments. To the west is the existing Northwick Park development. To the south is the Parkview Point development, and then to the east is the currently under construction Rolling Meadows development. And the site is currently tilled field with no existing trees or structures on site. The applicant is requesting to rezone the subject property from AG2 to R3, single-family residential, which would be in accordance with the long-term growth plan for the parcel. The low-density residential does allow for 2 to 4 units per acre, and the applicant's proposing a density of 2.9 units per acre. The proposed plat does consist of 71 single-family lots for homes. The applicant has not requested flexibility in terms of PUD or planned unit development and is intending to meet the standards of the R3 zoning district, which are on screen on the table before you. I just wanted to note an HOA is not proposed as part of the development, and the applicant has indicated they are still working with builders to determine who would be the builder within the development, so no specifics on that at this point. Access to the proposed development is provided through the 3 developments. To the west would be Jeffrey Avenue South through the Northwick Park development. To the south would be Jensen Avenue South, and then to the east would be 63rd Street South through Rolling Meadows. The applicant's proposing a 5-foot wide sidewalk that would connect the existing sidewalk stubs as shown in orange on the screen before you. There's a future roadway extension on the northwest corner of the property at the Woodbury border. That extension would then be extended at such time that the Woodbury parcel develops to the north. That road would continue to the north. The applicant is proposing 2 stormwater ponds on site. One pond is proposed to be a dry pond, and the larger one would be extended from the Rolling Meadows pond to the east, and that would be the wet pond to serve both of those developments. Also want to note there's a proposed trail in the northeast corner of the site that would tie into the South Washington Watershed District's regional trail section plan. So that proposed trail is highlighted in the red circle on screen before you. I would note that the trail is proposed to extend north up to the Glacial Valley Interpretive Area that would be provided by the county. And then the existing trail that's currently constructed does flow to the Glacial Valley Park that was constructed recently within the city. The applicant did submit a detailed landscape plan. There's no tree mitigation required as there's no trees on site. There's 77 boulevard trees proposed, and the landscape plan does show 4 trees per lot with 10 shrubs per lot. I did want to note that the zoning code was updated in 2022, as you're well aware, and changed, so any lot greater than 60 feet in width only requires 3 trees per lot. So the applicant will be working to revise that landscape plan, as the old code required 4 trees per lot. Planning staff would exercise final approval over a landscape plan, so working with the applicant to revise the landscape plan on that. The applicant did host a neighborhood meeting on March 12th of 2024. There were 26 residents in attendance. 3 major concerns were brought up, which related to the development process, construction traffic, and project build-out. However, I would note the primary concern was construction traffic, as traffic is proposed to flow through the existing residential developments. Due to the limited access to the site, the residents at the neighborhood meeting did ask whether the applicant could work with the property owner to the north along the Woodbury border to utilize the existing driveway and farm field on site, which is on red on the screen there. The applicant did investigate this, but the property owners weren't interested due to concerns related to liability, tree removal, and other various factors. Thus, the only remaining access options are through the existing residential neighborhoods. At this point, staff is not intending to designate an official construction traffic route. However, I wanted to note that this scenario isn't uncommon within the city. There's currently 9 residential developments where traffic has to flow through an existing residential development into the currently under construction development. A few examples would be Calarosa, where you're flowing from first edition, second, all the way to sixth edition. Settlers Bluff, flowing from first edition to second edition. Or maybe a more prominent example would be flowing through Langdon Hills to Eastbrook second and third edition. We have 2 different developments that are under construction there. And with that, I'll leave the recommendation on screen before you. Staff is available for any questions, and the applicant is in attendance as well.
I got a question.
Okay, we'll start with that. Councilmember Thiede?
So I assume we talked to Woodbury and kind of coordinated with them a little bit on that road going north, and do they already have some different proposals in place at all platted out, or?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Councilmember Thiede, at this point, we haven't gotten any information that they have any proposals. At such time that they would notify us, and then we could provide comment at that time. But at this point, the only thing they commented was that the hammerhead was sufficient, and then to sign it for future road extensions.
So they're okay with that, though? They'll try to accommodate that as much as possible?
Yep, that's correct, yep.
Okay.
Councilmember Olson?
Connor, thank you very much. I feel underdressed today. You look fantastic, so, nice suit. I wanted to ask about your comments related to the traffic for the construction. As I'm sure you're keenly aware, that seems to be a area of heartburn for residents throughout the city when situations like this arise where they have construction traffic that comes through their residential neighborhood. So what I'm curious about is what can we do from a communications perspective to ensure that folks in the neighborhood are keenly aware of, you know, the activity that's going to take place, the times in which the activity will take place, et cetera, so that we can hopefully, you know, put people's mind at ease to some degree. Because I think where the biggest challenge lies is the trucks start rolling and people look out their window and what the heck's going on? I didn't know anything about it. And of course, we have the neighborhood meetings. We do all the things we're supposed to do. But people are busy, and sometimes they don't even get the mail, so they don't get the notice, or they don't have the ability to go to the meeting. So that's question number one is, what sort of communication plan can we, partnering with the developer, put in place to help people recognize this is what's happening, this is when it's happening, this is how long it's gonna happen, so that if nothing else, they're well informed. Question two is this. When we roll trucks like this through residential neighborhoods, we tend to see a little bit of wear and tear on some of those roads that aren't generally, they're not generally used for that purpose. So they're not made for that purpose. Are we concerned at all about, you know, what this traffic through the neighborhood may do to the existing roadways? And or have we thought that through and tried to figure out, you know, what can we do to mitigate that, whether it's, you know, a shorter term mill and overlay, things of that nature. So I recognize both of those things may be more Ryan related or Amanda related questions, but since you're the handsome gentleman standing there, I figured I better just throw them your way. So what do you think? Can we figure something out on the communication?
Yeah, Councilmember Olson, we have been in direct communication with all the residents that attended the neighborhood meeting. You know, we gathered their emails, phone numbers, et cetera, and continue to keep them informed as we move through this. It was clearly outlined at the neighborhood meeting and then through contact after, kind of the development schedule and talking through those concerns with the residents. One thing that did kind of help with the residents at ease as well was talking through that we're going to make clear with the contractors, subcontractors that, you know, everybody traveling that's construction-related traffic has to be cognizant they're traveling through a residential area and just be aware that there's homes in there, there's children, of all the factors that play into that, and just reduce their speed as much as possible. And one way that we would do that would be to work with public safety and put maybe a speed trailer out there and just be in constant communication with them is where we're at currently. And then I would defer the road question to our city engineer, Amanda Meyer.
On your communication response, I would encourage that we have regular dialogue with the contractor and their subs, because I can speak from experience, and I'm sure Ryan would agree with this. You can have that conversation doggone near every day and still have a sub that doesn't pick up what you're laying down. So we got to be really clear about this is what the expectations are related to speed, time of day, all those sorts of things, because, you know, those folks have a job to do and they kind of, that's their focus, right? They're not really thinking about all the other things that we have to think about related to our residents. And, you know, there'll be a few of us out knocking on doors this summer, and I'm sure we'll hear about it if it's not done properly. So with that, maybe turn over to Amanda or Ryan.
Mayor, members of the council, if I may, on the communication piece, some of the things that we've done with public projects are, you know, project websites where you can sign up for weekly updates, or maybe there's mailers. So I think there's probably an opportunity we could work with the developer on if there's some sort of platform that they have where maybe they want to set something up. Otherwise, we are able to work with them on specific mailers. At this point, we are at preliminary plat, so we're
Right.
still a little ways away from having any sort of contractor on board with a specific schedule. So we've got some time to work through that, but I think there's a lot of options that we can work through with the developer to come up with a good communication plan.
Yeah, thank you. And the further out we are, the better time it is to start planning, I think. Thank
Yes,
you.
absolutely. So in regard to our streets and the conditions, this is actually a really good area for an example, as when Rolling Meadows was constructed, they did move through that Parkview Point development, and we just recently completed the final streets project in that neighborhood. And I will say, we didn't see a lot of, early degradation in that roadway when we came through with that final streets project. The Northwick Park, I believe that's Jeffrey Avenue, that is still, has the bit wedge, if you will, so we haven't completed the final streets, but we're very confident in how our roads are built, how we maintain our roadways. We don't have concerns with early degradation of our pavement. And I think the other piece, as we think about construction phasing, the first phase is grading, right? So that equipment gets dropped off, and there's a couple of workers who show up at the beginning of the day and they leave at the end of the day. So that construction traffic early on in development is a lot less than when we start seeing that home construction with all the trades. So it'll help us kind of ease into better figuring out what's the best communication plan, how are we seeing, traffic routing through the neighborhoods, if we're seeing any concerns with the roadways. We have some time to kind of work through that as we get more into that construction.
Thank you. Excellent answers from both of you. I can see that you've given it a lot of thought. And, we continue to learn as we continue to develop and ways in which we can maybe improve, our service level to the residents. And it sounds like you guys have had those conversations already. So I very much appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Amanda, I don't know, well, first of all, any other council comments at this point? I had one, just, are you able to, or Connor, can you flip back to next one? Keep going, this one. Go back one more, there we go. So I'm just curious from a staff standpoint, just from my knowledge. I see what's gonna be up above going into Woodbury with the Glacier Park, correct? Over to the east of that, which I assume is still Cottage Grove, just to the north there in Woodbury is, what's the church? Why am I drawing a blank? Crossroads, thank you, whatever. There's a parcel there. Is that a buildable parcel, or is that? I just was curious. Do you happen to know? And I mean, this isn't really so much for these guys, maybe. I just wondered if that's something that's just gonna be a remnant that's gonna be sitting out there because it's not buildable. So, I mean, if you want to take that later, and you see where I'm talking about though, correct? Just to the east?
You mean on the other side of the church?
It would be south of the church, right there, yep.
I think that's part of the watershed.
Is it though? Because it's not,
Oh, no, 3M has some property.
that's 3M on that side of the highway too? Okay, okay. And then my other real quick question is, I know you mentioned about Woodbury. Do we know in their long-term guide or their plan, they may not have anything specific just to the north of us where this development's going. Do you know if are they guiding that for single family, like R 2.5 or such? Is that the plan?
Yes, that is my understanding, Mayor,
Okay.
members of the council. And I'll just add in our conversations with Woodbury, we've also been communicating as it relates to the trail and access to ensure that there is an access just north of our border onto that trail, since you saw that there isn't any direct access through this neighborhood.
Absolutely, and that's why I knew that's why you were doing it there. So I just was curious for because half of this development's gonna back up onto the Glacial Valley Park in Woodbury, but then the rest of it, I just was curious if it was single family, so, okay. That helps, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Council, any other questions for staff? Oh,
Just
Councilmember
to
Thiede.
follow on with what you were saying, I mean, is it possible to come in on from the Crossroads Church? I mean, that land is not too level. I imagine it would, because eventually that'll probably be a road extension, possibly, I don't know.
Across.
To come in from the east to the property right along the top border there. And, it's part of its watershed, and if it gets, repaired or whatever, I don't know, I can't see necessarily the terrain from here.
I'll just, Councilmember Thiede, think I can answer that, because I actually was out there when they did the area, and then we walked that. That is a very steep.
Deep, is it? Okay.
Yeah, the intent is for water to flow in the
Well,
event.
sure, but, yeah.
So I don't see that being feasible, so.
And if I may add, Mayor, members of the council, much of that area is also in a conservation easement where there
Oh,
wouldn't
we wouldn't be
be
able to.
pavement allowed, which is part of why we have sort of an odd jog in the trail. We had to get around that conservation easement with the paved trail.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
thanks.
Does the developer have anything you want to add, or are you all good? No questions? Council, any questions for the developer? This one looks fairly straightforward, other than I know we just want to make sure communication going through existing neighborhoods is clear, but this is almost like, to me, is kind of like an infill, if you will. Fits right into what's being built right around it. So, council, there's two motions before us. Who would like to take the first one?
I'd like to move to adopt ordinance number 1080, approving the zoning amendment to change the zoning of property generally located south of the Woodbury border, east of the Northwick Park development, west of the Rolling Meadows development, and north of the Parkview Point development from AG2 agricultural to R3 single-family residential.
All right, so we have a motion by Councilmember Kabata, seconded by Councilmember Thiede. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Aye, opposed? Motion carries. And then who would like number two?
I can take it.
Okay.
We would like to adopt Resolution 2024-064, approving the preliminary plot for subdivision to be called Summer Valley, which would consist of 71 lots for single-family homes.
All right,
I'll
so,
second that motion.
all right, so we have a motion by Councilmember Garza, seconded by Councilmember Olson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Aye, opposed? Motion carries. There you go, good luck. All right, we'll move on to number 12, which is council comments and requests. I'll start with Councilmember Kambata.
Thank you, Mayor Bailey. I just want to remind everyone as it gets warmer to use our parks. I was out this last weekend with my kids, and I noticed some people aren't paying very close attention. So everyone be safe out there. Go enjoy our parks.
All right, sounds good. Councilmember Olson?
I'll yield my time.
All right. Councilmember Thiede?
Yeah, I don't have anything right this moment.
Okay. Councilmember Garza?
Nothing other to say that River Oaks and their new menu is going to be amazing, so I hope that everyone gets out there and enjoys it.
Yes, we had a chance to sample a few things tonight and see the menu, so it's going to be a very nice event place down there, so pretty cool. The only other one thing I'll mention that, before we have our next council meeting, and this is always fairly popular in our community, and that is just a reminder that Saturday, April 27th, is the Chamber Community Showcase, which is at the Park High School Field House. It starts at 10 a.m. and I believe it goes to about 2 to 3. And so I just encourage everybody to stop in there and patronize your local businesses and check out maybe some of the people or some of the businesses you didn't know that were in Cottage Grove. So I just thought I would throw that out there. That being said, workshop open to the public. We do not have one this evening. We do have a workshop closed to the public, and it is kind of our performance evaluation for our city administrator. So I'll just mention it on camera here that we will be, or I will be recommending that we close the meeting pursuant to Minnesota Statute 13D.05, subsection 3A, to conduct a performance evaluation of city administrator Jennifer Levitt. So with that, council, we'll move to the conference room, and we'll adjourn when we're in there. Thank you, everybody.